This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Martin hits out, calls the allegations a smear campaign against him and his family. DMK too throws its weight behind the leader.
A systematic, planned campaign to defame me, to disgrace me, and not only me, my party and my family.
After Amma delivers on 6 promises, all eyes look towards the governor. But what birthday surprises are in store for the DMK chief tomorrow? Parents cry out against exorbitant fees, demand the prescriptions of the Govindarajan committee, call out for help to Amma. New ministers look for a head start. Food minister cautions against corruption in rice scheme. Labour minister conducts surprise checks. Chain snatchers from Delhi strike gold in Chennai. High-flying criminals from Delhi are flown to the city. And if you had a note for every landmark that Tendulkar achieved, you'd be a millionaire. But this fan spent $1 million for his unique collection.
மும்பையில் ஒரு எக்ஸிபிஷன் அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணும்போது இது மாதிரி ஒரு ஐடியா கிடைச்சிது. அப்போ ஏன் இதை வந்து நான் கிரிக்கெட்டர்ஸ் செலிபிரிட்டிஸ்க்கு கலெக்ட் பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு நினச்சேன்.
Well, very good evening. You're watching Late Night News with me, Ashmit Kumar. Let's take a quick look at developments happening around the country. Baba Ramdev in serious talks with the government. Sources say that the ministers are trying to convince him to not fast again. Mayawati in damage control announces new land acquisition policy, but it won't apply to other controversial projects. There was no irregularity in the grant of dual technology license to Tata Telecom. The CBI lawyer gives a clean chit. NDTV tracks down David Headley's wife, who has said that she is proud of what her husband did in the 2611 attacks. Food inflation falls to 8.06% for the weekend of May 21st on the back of cheaper pulses, wheat and some vegetables. And Sania Mirza storms into her first women's doubles final at a Grand Slam after beating 4th seeds in the French Open semi-final. Well, first up, this are allegations against Dayanati Maran. They have been doing the rounds. And while calling these allegations against him a spear campaign, Dayanati Maran hit back at those making these allegations against the leader.
And the kind of campaign which is going against me, a systematic, planned campaign to defame me, to disgrace me, and not only me, my party and my family. I have a letter dated May 6, 2009 from the General Manager of the Chennai Telephones. The reason I got the letter was an accusation was made by present Chief Minister Jayalalitha when she was the opposition leader that there was a CBI inquiry on me that I've misused my official position to get 300 likes. I wrote to the Chief General Manager and asked him, please explain to me how many lines are present in my residence, the so-called residence of 3 First Avenue, Botlo. And let me quote from here, only one BSNL telephone connection was provided when you were a minister and a member of parliament at your residence. Number 3, First Avenue, Botlo Road, Chennai 28. Second point, only one telephone connection allotted was 2437-1500 ISDN PRA and no other BSNL telephone connection is provided at the above premises till now. Which date? May 6, 2009. The unit calls, see everything is computerized. Unit calls recorded for 3 years from 2006 to 9 was 1,73,000. As a member of parliament, I am eligible for 4,50,000 calls for 3 years. And it says, you have not exceeded your limit, you are well within the eligible limit meter calls. And the fourth point, as a member of parliament, you are eligible for 1,50,000 calls, metered calls per annum. And to put together for 3 telephone lines, but I had only 1 line. As a billing information along all the billing information.
Well, faced with the problems galore, the DMK fired back at the chorus of voices demanding the Union Minister Dayanidhi Maran's resignation. The party pointed its guns squarely at the Chief Minister Jayalalitha. Now, the DMK argued that if Jayalalitha hasn't resigned on previous occasions to face charges in court, why should Maran be required to do the same? Well, moving ahead now, joining in the chorus, CPM State Committee today demanded that Union Textiles Minister Dayanidhi Maran should be removed from the cabinet in the wake of the recent allegations of corruption against him. CPI State Secretary D. Pandian today urged that Dayanidhi Maran should resign from the Union cabinet. Well, moving ahead now, Tamil Nadu Assembly is gearing up for the first governor's address of the newly formed AIADMK government on Friday. Now, Chief Minister Jayalalitha held consultations with her cabinet 3 times in the last fortnight to finalize the policy decisions and new schemes to be announced in the governor's address. Meanwhile, sources revealed that the Governor Barnala may make announcements regarding free laptops for +1 and +2 students. There is also talk of possible announcements about launch of government-run cable TV corporation. The Governor Barnala, according to sources, may even touch upon the status of the new Secretariat complex built under the DMK regime. Now, there are high expectations on the governor's address as the ruling AIADMK had officially fulfilled 6 promises it had made in its election manifesto in less than 2 weeks' time. And well, faced with the multiple challenges at this point, both on the political and the personal front, the route ahead for the DMK looks like a rickety one. And well, to dwell on this big question, our executive editor Sanjay Pinto discussed the nuances of Dravidian politics with Mrs. Sushila Ravindranath, the consulting editor with Financial Express, and Mr. Sugandan, a senior journalist.
Karunanidhi's birthdays are usually celebrated with a lot of pomp and splendor, so much fanfare made, perhaps very, very grand. But this time around, this is going to be perhaps the most low-key celebration ever. I remember because, you know, many years ago when Karunanidhi celebrated his 75th birthday, I remember there was this massive function at the Marina Beach. Those days you could hold functions at the Marina Beach. You didn't have a High Court ruling then. And there was this pearl and an oyster, and Karunanidhi emerged from that. This time around, no reason really to celebrate, ma'am?
Naturally, because everything is going wrong for them. So when people are down and out, also many other so-called skeletons come tumbling out.
Unless, of course, Kanimuri gets bail from the Delhi High Court tomorrow. Because if she doesn't, then it would be a long wait because the courts go on vacation.
Yeah. So I don't think he has anything to cheer about at the moment. But this is possibly the time to rethink, rebuild, who knows.
Birthdays are a time for introspection.
Introspection.
Right. Mr. Sudangan, sir, it is gathered that all along, when there was talk about the DMK actually pulling the plug, that Dayanidhi Maran is one of the senior DMK leaders, union ministers, who actually prevailed on Karunanidhi to not do something hasty, to not take that decision. Now with, you know, the Dayanidhi Maran in the firing line, and there's talk of there are demands for his resignation. We don't know whether he will resign or whether he will be asked to. Could that conciliatory approach of the DMK come to an end, and will that be the last straw? Because again, apart from Dayanidhi Maran, you have Alagiri, another family member, and he's made it very clear he's not too keen on central politics. He'd like to return to the state. So do you see the DMK pulling the plug?
Yes, of course. See, another important factor is, I strongly feel, even before the elections, all the exposures made in the print or electronic media is a systematic leak by the investigating agency right from the CAG report. Now, what you should see beyond it is how suddenly the telephone connection exchange between Boat Club and Sun TV.
That he has denied that, and his lawyers have also sent a notice with a supporting document from BSNL.
That we have to see, because the newspaper.
No, what I would request you, sir, let's steer clear of the allegations and look at the road ahead really for the DMK and the DMK's challenge here.
This time the road, it's very
will the DMK pull the plug?
No, it's very difficult this time. Why? Because we have been seeing Mr. Karunanidhi fighting. He has seen many ups and downs. We will also wish him to come out of all these problems, because tomorrow is his birthday. But this time, the factor is, you should understand, the hardcore ideological committed DMK cadres are alienated or isolated. A new generation of corporate clan, Dhoti clan ministers have come. They have made a coterie around it. Where are the old people, old timers? When Karnataka writes Udan Barape, come means lakhs and lakhs and people have come. You have isolated them. How are you going to do it?
Family, you're talking about family rule. Okay.
Family.
But corporates don't wear dhotis.
This is a special political corporate clout, I mean.
The DMK has faced setbacks in the past. As Mr. Sudhangan said, of course, they faced even dismissals, apart from electoral defeats. Do you think the party can bounce back? And if so, what do they need to do at this stage? Because Karunanidhi is not getting any younger now. His health concerns are there. There is the danger of sibling rivalry again rearing its ugly face.
See, if the siblings bury their rivalries and think about the party and building up cadres, who knows? Who knows how the family alliances will take place? Even during these assembly elections, everybody said the siblings will, fight with each other. That didn't happen. They were together. So why do we underestimate our politicians? Why do we say that if DMK has faced a debacle, so has Jayalalitha's AIDMK. Hasn't she come bouncing back? Even till about a year ago, they said that she has no chance of winning. What happened? So how can we predict anything?
Yeah, psephologists are the ones who need to pack their bags now.
Yes.
Sir, I also want to ask you now, I remember a few years ago, you had a furious AIDMK chief vowing to wipe out the DMK. These are the words she used, to wipe out the DMK. That's when there was a threat to actually demolish a part of the AIDMK party office in Roypata. Do you think now that Ms. Jayalalitha is now in the saddle, well and truly in the saddle, we have also seen that in the past political vendetta has actually boomeranged and has led to a sympathy factor. Do you think now Ms. Jayalalitha would go after them in some way?
I don't think. See,
or just focus on governance and uphold promises, which she has been doing already.
She has started on the right path. See, the situation is very convenient to us. If you see Kanimozhi's arrest or the allegations against Dayanidhi Maran, all the cases are Karunanidhi family cases will be taken care by their alliance partner Congress in the center. So, like last time when she arrested Kalaignar, she need not do this. All the family arrest will be taken care of the center. She will go against the wealth of the ministers, that will be taken care by the law.
No, but then here again, you've been swept to partly. I mean, she has also made this point earlier, and one must accept that point in a sense that it's not just a vote against corruption, but also a decisive mandate in favor of the AIDMK.
Yes.
But when you come to power partly on the anti-corruption plank, then you would want to be seen to at least to be showing some sort of cleanup. So for that sake, at least, do you think the DVAC will become very active? Right now, there's no head of the DVAC because Shyam Sundar has been.
Definitely, see, already stories have, people have started writing stories about the enormous wealth of these ex-ministers. That will all come out. That will take its own due course. But this time, Jayalalitha is totally in favor that she will need not touch Karunanidhi or his siblings. All the things will be taken care of the Central Bureau of Investigation. So nobody can tell her it's a personal vendetta against Karunanidhi's family. All these things she can take care of. The DVA will take care of all the ministers.
The road ahead for the DMK, we've seen, at least observers believe that in a sense the various power centers within the DMK first family are actually hitting out at each other. Is there a strain that we are witnessing? We saw the family coming together, but are the cracks now beginning to surface?
Of course, yes. There is a cold war going on. All the revelations that is coming out in the newspapers, one giving information about the other giving the information about this.
All right,
even in Niraradia tapes, you saw how Ms. Kanimozhi spoke about seeing that Dayanidhi Maran doesn't come into telecommunication. That was an open fight.
Sushila?
See, I think the cracks appeared before the elections. Right now, after Kanimozhi's arrest,
and the family
seems to have sort of dug their heels in. So we don't know what the thinking is. We are all assuming this is how something is happening.
One thing is, as I said earlier, before the election I said, if DMK wins, Kalaignar's family will be saved. If DMK loses, the DMK party will be saved. Now, with all these things emerging, whether the party will be saved or not, that is a $1 billion question before the DMK volunteers.
Well, moving ahead now, new ministers get into overdrive with their new job profiles. We'll tell you more on the other side. Keep watching.